Welcome to the cross-cutting concepts activity for stations 4 and 5. Again, some of you are watching this video maybe because you're absent and you need to finish your lab. Some of you are watching, in fact, a lot of you are watching this video because your answers weren't precise. You missed questions. The answers were very vague and you didn't meet my expectations by having high quality complete sentences. So you have to redo the lab. And that's going to be a major theme this year. If you don't do well, and if it doesn't meet expectations, you have to do it again if you want credit for it. So let's get started at station 4. If you remember, station 4 was the pen. And it first asked you, how many different parts do you see? And depending on how you looked at the pen, that could vary. If you took it apart, you might have, well, if you didn't take it apart, you might have simply said 4. If you took it apart, all of a sudden you start to see there's more parts. You might have had 7, 8, or 9. And your exact answer depends on how detailed you were. So some people went as far as to say, there's the tube that has the ink, and then there's the ink inside the tube, and then there's the pen tip where 3 different parts, where some people just had that listed as 1 part. But the bottom line is, by taking it apart, you were actually able to observe more of the parts of the pen. So then you needed to list the parts that make up the object. So I would expect on your paper that you list each of the parts. And some people were saying, how are we supposed to do this? We don't know what they're called. Well, just make up names. It's a beginning lab, and sometimes in science you have to do that. Think about it. Sometimes we discover things we've never seen before, and we have to figure out how to name it. So you can do the same. Now, then you were supposed to describe what each part does. And you could combine 12 and 13. You could have listed them, and then you could have just a sentence behind it. And I'm not looking for a great deal of writing here, but you should have... Ooh. Sorry if I stopped that video right there. My dog scared me. He snuck in behind me, and he shook, and I didn't know he was down here. So that was a woo for it because I didn't know what was there. So did you describe the parts? So you could list them and describe them. You could have that all as one. Again, it doesn't have to be lengthy. Just list each part. What's it going for? What is it for? The ink is used to write in the pen. The tip of the pen is used to direct the ink at the right spot. The spring is used to with the clicker. So when you click it, the pen tip hides, and then when you click it again, the pen tip comes out. So that's what I'm looking for with this one. So go ahead, list all the parts, describe them. What is the overall function of the object? Here again, it would be very simple to have a short answer that is not enough. You could just said, to write. But that doesn't meet my expectations. Or you could meet my expectation by saying the overall function of the object is to write. Or even better, it's to communicate with the written language. Now 15, how does each of the parts contribute to the function of the object? Well, think about it. Each individual part contributes to the overall function. Could we take any of those parts away and would the pen work? Well, we could take away the advertisement. We could take away a few parts and it would work. It just wouldn't work as well, or it wouldn't possibly meet someone's expectations. So how does each of the parts contribute to the function of the object? You could combine this with 12 and 13. Describe what the part does, and then how does that contribute to the overall function? So you might say, well, the ink is used to write, and that is the overall function of the pen, to write. The clip on the side is used to hold it in your pocket or other object. So it contributes so that way the pen doesn't get lost. Is easy. So go ahead, finish station number 4. When you do, go ahead and start the video up again. All right, so you had a chance to finish up station 4. So when we look at the cross-cutting concepts, which ones do you think fits? Now, if you're seeing a trend, you're correct. It's number 4. So station number 4 is number 4. And it's systems and system models. And what I mean by that is if you take all the different parts of the pen, they form a system. Just like if you take all the different parts of your body, it forms one giant system and then your body works. Now, just like the pen, you can lose different parts of your body. For example, I lost my hair, but my body still has, works pretty good. I get burned on the top of my head really easy. So there's some function of the hair that's not there that you have that I don't have. But when we look at the pen, it's systems. All the pieces form a system. That's why it fits into this cross-cutting concept. So let's look at station 5. Here you had one of my old flip phones. So you're supposed to analyze the electronic device. Do not disassemble your device. However, some people took the cover off the back and broke it, so it still kind of works, but yet they did disassemble it. So explain how energy is used to make the device work. Well, we have a battery, and that battery, which has chemical reaction inside it, flows through the phone and it runs the phone. So explain how energy is used to make the device work. You could have said, well, energy from the battery flows through the battery, through the wires into the phone, and it makes the speaker work, it makes the screen work, makes the keys light up, it makes the flashlight light. Something similar to that is what I'm looking for. Now 17, where does this energy originally come from? If you just said, oh, the battery, okay, that energy from the battery goes in the phone. But where does the energy to charge the phone come from? You might say, well, the outlet. Well, where did that energy, so when you plug it into the outlet, the charger, where did that energy come from? Is your wall making energy? No. Well, your socket, when you put it in there, the outlet is connected by wires, and those wires make it back to a power plant. Whether it's a coal-burning power plant, nuclear power plant, depending on where you live, it could come from solar panels. It could come from wind. So you could talk about that. You could also talk about, well, a lot of that energy even derives from the sun, because the sun creates the plants, which create the coal, and the sun, helps create airflow, which creates the wind. You got the hydrologic cycle. So the evaporation of the water allows water to flow because you have the water cycle. So the sun might be a good answer for that as well. How is the energy stored? Well, in this case, it's stored in a battery. It's stored as chemicals. And so it's not stored as electricity. It's a chemical reaction that happens in the battery. So I'm looking for that type of answer. And what is the energy used for in the device? Again, the energy is used to, power the flashlight. It's to power the speaker. It's to power the screen. It's to allow all those things to operate. So let's look at the cross-cutting concepts. Which one fits? For station 5, well, it's number 5, energy and matter. The energy flows from the battery, it flows from the power plant into the battery, into the phone. So once again, you can stop here and make sure you have complete answers for stations 4 and 5. I'm going to pause the video, and you're going to have a new video for stations 6 and 7.